All right, there's one thing that I see a lot of, and I've done it myself quite a bit, and that is living in fear. So, when it comes to the topic of fear or living in fear, obviously there's a lot of things in this world that we can and should be afraid of. There's a healthy level of fear that we should be aware of as we live throughout this life. But I guess what my video is going to be about is more along the lines of living in fear in a way where it's not doing you any good and it's keeping you stagnant in your life. Like the fear of doing any of the things that I've talked about in my videos, the fear of exercising, the fear of eating right, the fear of trying to do the best that you can for your mental health, the fear of feeling embarrassed, or the fear of having a lot of negative emotion when it comes to having to go through negative emotion in order to better yourself. Even the simple, silly things like meditation and self affirmations. Some people might not say that that's like a fearful thing, but when it comes to, let's say, you feel really embarrassed doing self affirmations, why aren't you doing them? Well, I feel really embarrassed. What are you afraid of? So, what if you feel a little bit embarrassed? So, what if you feel a little bit uncomfortable? So, what if you are vulnerable? Do you see what I mean when I'm talking about living in fear? It kind of comes down to that. There's a fear of experiencing negative emotions because we live in a world where everything is pretty easy and we don't have to go through very much pain or suffering if we don't want to. Now, we obviously go through a lot of pain and suffering just naturally throughout this world. So you might think, well, why would I want to put myself through any more negative emotion? Because that can lead you to being able to feel more positive emotion in the end. First of all, you're the one in control of doing it, because we talked about control. Second of all, you're the one that is able to put it and use it in a way that's going to be able to better yourself. So it's not just something that's happening to you and you don't have any control over it and you hate it and it makes you feel negative. No, you're allowing yourself to sit there, meditate, and maybe even if you feel a little bit uncomfortable or embarrassed, you're in control of that. And just by doing that and by doing things that you're in control of, even if it's through some sort of suffering or negative emotion, you're the one that's going to benefit from it. But if we all shy away from anything painful or anything that's uncomfortable, or if we shy away from anything that is fearful, just think about what your life's going to look like if you live in fear on a constant basis. You're not going to try any new businesses, that's for sure. If you're afraid of people, you're probably not going to want to go to the gym, so that's going to keep you stagnant at home. Or if you're not wanting to be seen by anybody, there are ways to exercise by doing that. But, are you going to be so afraid of going outside and seeing people that that's going to keep you from exercising? Are you afraid that your cravings for certain foods are going to just overcome you? And so, why try? The fear of failure. There we go. The fear of succeeding. Now, why would that be a fear? I don't know. Some people really, when things start to go really well and they start to succeed, their belief is that it's just going to go bad. Something bad's going to happen. And I think we all do that on some level, but obviously we got to be aware of that. And in a way, the fear of success, talk about something that's going to not help you progress in this life. The fear of success or the fear of failure. You're stuck at that point. So I decided a few years ago, and I think I still feel like I have a healthy level of fear or things that I need to make sure that I'm safe, that I'm secure, those kinds of things. I'm not, going wild, doing anything crazy, but I decided a few years ago that I just don't want to live my life in fear. If I want to start a different business, go ahead. I'm just going to do it. Even making these videos, it's not real comfortable for me, to be honest with you. I don't really know what I'm doing that well. I'm a little bit on the older side. It's whatever. It's one of those things where, making TikTok videos, I could be judged. Every time I make a video, somebody could comment on this and say how stupid I am for even thinking the way that I'm thinking. I'm putting myself at risk just by making these videos. And again, I decided a long time ago, I'm just like, not specifically about TikTok, but just I'm tired of living my life in fear. I don't really care about a lot of other things that could happen. I'm just going to live my life and try to enjoy it as much as I can, because this world is really unpredictable. So why try to predict it? Just enjoy living in the here and now, like I've talked about before, and try to do your best to not live in fear. It doesn't do you any good, and I swear to you that the world tries to make you feel afraid just about every day and just about anything. I'll give you an example. I don't know if this will get me in trouble, but I don't really care. But long time ago, they said, raw eggs will give you salmonella. It's going to be really bad for you, and blah, 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 blah. And, I was just like, I'm going to start drinking eggs. So I started drinking eggs. I drink, almost a half a dozen to a dozen eggs every day. And I've done it for about 4 to 5 years. Never got salmonella. That's just one example of the things that you could be afraid of. Nobody's gonna ever eat any, raw cookie dough because of salmonella. All right, if that's your choice, knock yourself out. I'm just tired of it myself, and I think that a lot of people get stuck in the fear cycle. And, ever since, 2020 came around, everybody and their dog just, it's like the world stopped. But we still have to keep living, and we still have to keep trying to progress. And I think a big, big part of that is not living in fear. So, I don't know, you could find this controversial or whatever. I don't really, I don't care. This is what I'm seeing as a clinician, as a practitioner, as a licensed clinical social worker, and as a mental health professional that's been doing this for almost 17 years now. So anyways, take it for what it's worth. Let me know what you think. Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.